Hello and welcome to Nick's Nerd News. This is where you come to listen to breaking news when it comes to the nerd world. That means we have breaking video game news, movie news, and TV news. If you want to hear about the latest games, the latest movies, and everything else, stick around. Because here's your host, Nick, from a tiny studio in San Diego.
What is up? What is up, ladies, gents, folks, everyone? How are you guys doing today? Today is March 13th. March 13th. Yes, 2 weeks into March already, baby. Let's go. Ooh, I can see the moon right now. It's really cool. Anyway, it's March 13th. Do you know where your children are? Those old ads. What's going on? How are you guys doing? You having a good time? Good week? Good month? How'd that time change affect y'all? Because it messed me up big time. I had to be at work the next day at 5 a.m. Like, nah, fam. Nah. Not cool. Not cool. Crazy, though, right? Lot of fun things to talk about today. For starters, the Oscars were on Sunday. A lot of unsurprising wins, to be honest. But some of the jokes were really good, if you ask me. Jimmy Kimmel did good. John Mulaney did something I don't think anyone expected. John Cena, though. Woo! 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 Anyway, the Oscars. Today, out of nowhere, Patty Jenkins announced that, she's still working on Rogue Squadron, so that's happening. And we lost a great man. Akira Toriyama passed away. And it's unfortunate, because I'm pretty sure he was still working on Dragon Ball Super, or whatever they were onto at this point. Oh, wait, weren't they going to do a new Dragon Ball show with, like, baby Goku and Vegeta this time? Shit, I forgot about that. Yeah, he was working on new stuff. So it's unfortunate we lost Toriyama. The world, literally the world is in mourning. That is not an oversimplification. That is a literal thing. But that is what some of our top stories are. Also, just general housekeeping, Thank you guys week in, week out for listening. Make sure to check out nicksnerdnews.com. Give us a like, a follow, a share on socials. Just search Nick's Nerd News. And then also, if you have a chance, while you're on our website, give us a follow of the podcast, right? We're on Spotify. We're on Google Podcasts. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on iHeartRadio. We're on YouTube now. How about that? It's amazing, ain't it? So all the links, everything is there on our website, on our link tree. If you follow us on socials, you can't miss anything. Also, don't forget to check out the Discord. But let's not waste any more time prattling on. Let's get straight to the news, shall we? All right, what's going on in the video game world, huh? Well, quite a bit, actually. So, how about this? We learned last week Toyota, yes, Toyota, is working on a rideable Miraidon from Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. So Violet specifically. The box legendary, the future version, the one that looks like a motorcycle, like really like a motorcycle compared to Koraidon and Cyclizar. So, yes, they are making a rideable Miraidon that it's wild to me that A, that it's Toyota, and B, that it actually works. So if you want to get your Pokemon on, I'm sure they're only making one. I'm sure it will be on tour somewhere or at one of the Pokemon centers when it is completed. That's pretty cool, if you ask me. Kingmakers is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. This game was announced a few weeks ago. It is, if you took Back to the Future and Army of Darkness and blended them together, this is the game you would get. So it looks like you can go back in time as like a soldier from modern day and bring back weapons, vehicles, and then go back into like medieval times and take out other castles and knights with like attack helicopters and grenade launchers. And oh my god, I want this game. If you guys have not seen the trailer for it, you should check it out because it is amazing. Unfortunately, there's still no release date on it. We got a new trailer for the Fallout show, and I mentioned last week, or 2 weeks ago it might have been, about how I've never really gotten to the games, but what I think would be, I think the television medium will be a better fit for me for getting into Fallout. Like I said, personally, I never got into the games. I've tried Fallout 3, right? And now I can probably try them on Game Pass and things, but they are not for me. As I've said before, Starfield, it was really my first Bethesda Softworks game. So Todd Howard, of course, said, there's a lot of hints to the show and things like that. But we also learned that Todd Howard told the creators to keep things out and secret out of the show because they plan on using them in Fallout 5 at some point in time. But I think it's funny that Todd Howard is saying this when Fallout 5 is probably a decade away at the earliest. like we know Elder Scrolls 6 will be their next game, and that's probably not coming out until 2028, more than likely. And now he's like, nah, I'm saving it for Fallout 5. What, in a decade, Todd? How do we know you're still going to be working at Bethesda on Fallout games, dude? My guy. Like, but it's the show's coming. It airs in April, so we'll see what happens when it does release on Amazon Prime next month. Warner Brothers isn't just delisting their movies off of Max. Now we're learning that they're delisting Adult Swim games, one of which has been made free. An indie developer said that Warner Brothers Discovery is removing his game from sale, a developer said, so he made it free to play. Reported by Video Game Central, Small Radio's Big Television was created by Owen Deary, and the game is going to be retired via Warner Brothers Discovery. It's because it's published by them and their Adult Swim Games subsidiary. But this game came out almost a decade ago in 2016. And the creator said, because it's being pulled, he said, quote, Warner Brothers Discovery have informed me they will be retiring my game from Small Radio's Big Televisions from both Steam and PS4. I've made it free to download. Thanks for all your support. Which is, I don't understand why they're doing that. And it's not the only game to do that. So they're going to delist all Adult Swim games, we've now learned. Pool Panic, Duck Game, Rick and Morty, Virtual Reality, and Kingsway, all within the next 2 months. Isn't that a popular game, the Virtual Reality? What about Pocket Mortys? Is that going to go away too? I don't understand. That's very interesting. The whole catalog. So There's a lot going on. People are trying to save some of the games, but I'm very concerned about all these moves that Warner Brothers is making with everything, and it doesn't make any sense. Overwatch 2 got Cowboy Bebop DLC and crossover merch and outfits and everything this week, which I think is pretty fucking cool. But are people still playing Overwatch 2 is the real question. Spider-Man 2 DLC has leaked via its most recent update that added New Game Plus, new skins, and many more features. Very much hinting at the villain and main characters of the DLC. But if you try to access it, it may break your save and your game. Activision's QA workers have voted to create the largest video game worker union in the country. About 600 quality assurance workers have voted to unionize with the Communication Workers of America, the CWA, becoming Activision Quality Assurance United. And it's not... So this is the first unionization since Microsoft's takeover. Microsoft has, I guess, allowed it. More than likely, Microsoft tends to be a little more pro-union than some other companies. So these workers are unionized at Activision offices in Texas, Minnesota, and California. It's separate from other QA unions under Microsoft, such as the ones at ZeniMax, Raven, and Blizzard Albany. But Microsoft has taken a neutral approach towards using unionization and refrained from hindering any union discussion at any of the companies. So it's good on them and good on Activision and the QA workers. So I guess they're going to start trying to bargain with Microsoft. But the largest one, 600 members. That's cool. Some progress is being made. Deviation Games entered into a new partnership with Microsoft a few years back, and they were formed by Call of Duty Zombies mode creator Jason Blundell and Treyarch veteran Dave Anthony. Well, unfortunately, the company is shut down before they could finish their new game. The studio was formed in 2021. They immediately partnered with PlayStation, and yeah, that's wild. The Deviation Games Chief HR and Operations Officer Christy Stoll announced on LinkedIn saying, quote, "It is with a heavy heart that we announce the closure of Deviation Games. I want to express my deepest gratitude to our entire team. Thank you for all your hard work, dedication, and contributions to Deviation. I'm incredibly grateful for the opportunity to have worked with each and every one of you. To the entire video game industry, we will be hosting a networking event, and we would love for all companies, studios hiring to participate. Please reach out to me directly if you are interested in attending." Unquote. Then she went on to go and speak about other things. And then, so essentially they're inviting other companies to meet their employees, which is really nice. Not a lot of places do that when they shut down. And it's just, it's unfortunate that a whole studio has to close. But even with major PlayStation backing and things like that, it's not all, cupcakes and rainbows. But it was Mario Day, at least, on Monday. Was that Monday or Sunday? On Sunday was Mario Day. Get it? March 10th. MAR10. Mario. Haha, funny, punny. Anyway, some cool things were announced. A new Super Mario Brothers movie was announced by Miyamoto, coming in 2026. Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door remake will release on May 23rd. Game Boys. So the Game Boy versions of Mario Golf, Mario Tennis, and Dr. Mario are joining Nintendo Switch Online. And what I think is the best thing, Mario Kart Lego sets were announced to be released sometime in 2025 from Lego and their partnership with Nintendo that's been prospering for quite some time now. Multiverses has returned triumphantly. Not really. A new trailer was released, showing off some new specs. It looks like the game is switching to Unreal Engine. They've changed some of the animation styles a bit, particularly on the superheroes, if you ask me. And developer Player First has announced that it will release on May 28th across PlayStation 5, 4, Xbox Series XS, Xbox One, and PC via Steam and Epix. Full crossplay and cross-progression support is coming as well. So they built the ground up to improve online play, move to Unreal Engine 5, improve visuals, and a new PvE mode was announced. But it comes, of course, with characters like Velma, Shaggy, Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman, Bugs Bunny, the Iron Giant, Steven Universe, Arya Stark, of all people, Tom and Jerry, Finn from Adventure Time, and Tasmanian Devil. They have their own made-up character. Bugs Bunny, I think I said. Rick and Morty, of course. So, what else we got here? LeBron James's cartoon version of himself from Space Jam. Gizmo and Stripe from Gremlins as well. So it shut down about a year ago. I wonder what will happen with all the DLC people paid for. But Multiverses is officially back next month. Sean Layden, former head of PlayStation, got very candid about exclusives, which, are the hottest topic in the world right now if you go on Twitter, as Gamergate 2 gets underway for what a reason I don't fully understand. But in an interview with VentureBeat, of all places, Sean Layden, of course, former president and CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment, said, quote, exclusivity is your Achilles heel. It reduces your addressable market, particularly when you're in the world of live service gaming or free-to-play. Another platform is just another way of opening the funnel, getting more people in. In a free-to-play world, as we know, 95% of those people will never spend a nickel. The business is all about conversion. You have to improve your odds by cracking the funnel open. Helldivers 2 has shown that for PlayStation, coming out on PC at the same time. Again, you get that funnel wider, you get more people in, unquote. This is in the response to his comment saying any video game that it costs exceed $200 million are what he called his quote-unquote Achilles heel. They asked him about Xbox and things like that. Never mind. That was in response to a lot of other things going on. Peter Moore, who used to run Xbox, even said, quote, recently with IGN, quote, if Microsoft says, wait, we're doing $250 million on our own platforms, but if then we took Halo as, let's call it a third party, we could do $1 billion, you got to think long and hard about that, right? I mean, you just got to go, yeah, should it be kept? It's a piece of intellectual property. It's bigger than just a game. And how do you leverage that? Those are the conversations that always happen with how do you leverage it and everything we would do, unquote. I don't necessarily agree that if they're going to put other games, fine, whatever. I think Halo needs to stay Xbox, and maybe it's to a detriment, right? But Xbox PC, I think, is where I think it needs to stay. Some other things Layden said, saying, quote, for single-player games, it's not the same exigency. But if you're spending $250 million, you want to be able to sell it to as many people as possible, even if it's just 10% more, unquote. Interesting. Yet he was the king of their exclusive deals. So, a lot of things. What is this? Oh, Layden kept talking about consoles and install bases and things like that. So that interview, if you guys want to check it out, is interesting. But I agree with him about the exclusive stuff. If you have an exclusive that you're spending $200 million plus on, you better hope it makes that and more on just your consoles, right? And you better hope it's a system seller and that almost every one of your console owners is going to buy it, because otherwise it might be considered a flop. I don't know. I don't know how gaming profit works. PUBG, Player Unknown's Battlegrounds. Is that what it's called? I don't even remember. Everyone calls it PUBG at this point. Announced several new updates. They're switching to Unreal Engine 5. They're getting destructible environments, and more collabs are on the way. If you think PUBG is dead, you're wrong, as it's still consistently one of the most top-played games on Steam and consoles. It was announced that System Shock Remake will be hitting consoles this year on May 21st, if you guys want to play the classic System Shock. And then moving over, Starbreeze, the company behind the Payday games, has fired their CEO. Yes, the CEO, after the failure of Payday 3. This is a headline we don't often see in the gaming industry. But the CEO, I don't know if he was fired or if he was let go or forced out. I know I said fired, but maybe I was wrong. But Tobias Sjörgren, head of, like I said, Starbreeze, which is a Swedish developer. He's been the CEO for the last 3 years after the company nearly collapsed a few years ago. But he's left the company now. Payday 3 did not do well, had a disastrous launch, server issues. He apologized at the time with the issues when the game came out, but he's apologized like 3 or 4 times since the game came out, and they understand that people were upset. It was published by PlayOn, which is owned by Embracer. Obviously, we know Embracer is having a ton of issues, but it was all below expectations. I'm guessing he was forced out by either Embracer or PlayOn, but it did not do anything. But Sjörgen is out, and he's been replaced by Jörgen Geldner as interim CEO of Starbreeze. Geldner used to be CEO of Focus Home Interactive. He's been a board member of Starbreeze since at least last year. So they're going to start recruiting a new one. But a lot of finger pointing, if you will. Stig Asmussen, who was the lead director on one of the God of Wars, as well as Star Wars Jedi Survivor and Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, the first game. He left Respawn Entertainment, of course, last year. He's announced his new studio called Giant Skull, and it will focus on AAA narrative-driven single-player games, which I think everyone will be excited about, because the games he's made have all been very, very good. 2 trailers have come out recently, or leaked, if you will, for Insomniac's canceled Spider-Man multiplayer game. And if you told me 6 months ago that a multiplayer Spider-Man game was coming out, I'd be like, why? We don't need that. That sounds dumb. Well, now after having seen the trailers and the concept, I'm wondering, why was this game canceled, and why don't we have it right now? It was literally going to be a multiversal Spider-Man game. Think Into the Spider-Verse, but in a video game. Like, legitimately. It would have been called Spider-Man the Great Web, meaning different Spider-Men could come across the Great Web and help you fight different villains and the Sinister Six and all that. So, even Spider-Gwen was teased. What are you thinking, Sony and Insomniac? This game should be out right now. This game should be coming out. 5-player multiplayer game built on Live Service Foundation. Of course, it would have been the multiverse or the Spider-Verse, however you want to call it. It was never fully announced. These are concept trailers that never were supposed to be released, but they did. But it was quietly canceled, of course, by Sony very recently. But I really wish this game had come out because it actually looks really fucking cool. Unfortunate. So, we know E3 is canceled, but that doesn't mean we're not going to have gaming news in the summer. Obviously, we know Gamescom will happen in Cologne, Germany later in August, but with E3 out, Jeff Keighley, of course, is stepping in to save the day, quote-unquote, with the announcement that Summer Games Fest is returning and will begin on June 7th, the evening of June 7th, with like opening night live or whatever they call it. But it's essentially just a replacement for E3. And then final bit of gaming news. Like I said, not a whole lot. Turtle Beach has bought the peripheral game company PDP for $118 million. PDP is famous for making the new guitar peripheral for Fortnite's music mode or whatever. I don't remember what it's called. It's like music festival mode or something like that. They made like a Guitar Hero style peripheral for it. That is now available, or that was purchased by Turtle Beach, as Turtle Beach clearly wants to hop into the peripheral game now and expand beyond. I think they just make mics and stuff now, don't they? Do they make anything else? Mics and headphones? Does Turtle Beach do more than that nowadays? Turtle Beach used to be the best, and now they're like mid at most. I think they still claim to be number one. Oh, they make a lot of peripherals now. They got a ton of controllers, headsets, sim stuff. They have wheels and pedals. I didn't know that. Do they not make stuff for PlayStation? No shit. Oh wait, no, maybe they do. I was gonna say, it almost looks like they don't make. Oh, okay, they make headsets for everything, but sim stuff is only for Xbox and PC. $650 for a racing wheel? Get the fuck out of here, dude. That's insane. And then they sell a bunch of stuff for like Flight Simulator. That's wild, man. First off, $680 for a yoke and pedals and like, what are those called? Joysticks? Yoke? I guess they're yokes. I don't remember. What are those like? What do you call those levers that plane pilots use? That they're like, I guess they are levers. That would be the best. That would be the best description there. Oh, they have a cool $200 controller. That's nice. Here I am talking about Turtle Beach. Well, they clearly want to make more peripherals because they're getting into the peripheral game. Their headsets are. Oh, they have a nice one now for Xbox. Then again, the cheap Xbox made headsets are pretty fucking solid, actually. You'd be surprised at how high quality those are. That's it for gaming, though. Right? Not a lot, but a lot at the same time. There's a lot of information packed in there. But let's drive up the 5 freeway and see what's going on in Hollywood. Hollywood. All right, well, there was a lot of traffic. It was crazy. I couldn't stand it personally, but I'm kidding. Denis Villeneuve, hot off the great success of Dune 2, of course, Dune Part 2, excuse me, has announced that deleted scenes from the movie Part 2 will never, ever be released. Do I believe him? For now. I'm sure in like a decade or something they'll come out. They always do. Crunchyroll's president has finally addressed all the Funimation concerns about, digital libraries not transferring now that Crunchyroll's taking over Funimation. But Rahul Parini was interviewed by Polygon, which I always forget that Polygon still exists. But he over the concerns that fans have. So obviously we learned in February that Crunchyroll announced that Funimation would end its web and app services in April, and then how to merge your Funimation stuff into Crunchyroll, but it would not support the digital copies that you own in Funimation. So Crunchyroll is working on a solution, though, to what they call an appropriate value. Perini said, quote, "We understand this is value to fans. We're helping customers as they reach out to us on customer service. We are trying to make them whole. That could mean a discount to our subscription service, or it could mean giving them the value on a different service where they can get access to a digital copy." Didn't I talk about this last week? Could have sworn I did. I'm looking. Hold on. Looking at my show notes from last week. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. I could have sworn I've read this information already. But Perini also said, quote, "There are a handful of shows that are in the process of being moved over. I expect by April 2nd, everything that we can move over will get moved over. There might be a handful of shows that we do not get permission to move to Crunchyroll, and we will continue to work on those with our partners in the future." Unquote. So that's interesting that they're not getting the rights to everything, even though they bought Funimation. But you might not get your digital libraries, but at least I found out they weren't purchased through Funimation, and what they really were just copies that you got after buying the physical version. So a lot of these people are mad that maybe their pirated copies aren't moving over. We got a new trailer for Inside Out 2, where we got to meet more of the new emotions. Anxiety was already shown off in the new in the teaser trailer that dropped a little while ago, but now we've met some more of the emotions. So let me get the names of all of them. We now have Anxiety, played by Maya Hawke, the daughter of Uma Thurman. Io Adibari will be playing Envy. Yes, Envy is coming in. Adele Zarchopoulos, who is a French actress, will be playing Ennui, who is also boredom, as we've learned. That's the French word for boredom. And then Paul Walter Hauser, who is a comedic actor, will be playing Embarrassment. Yes, Embarrassment. All normal teen emotions. They're missing angst. Teen angst. But that movie's coming out in June. Shogun, which I finally watched the first episode of. I didn't realize it was episodic or weekly, so that I can catch up at least. First off, before I get into this news, Shogun is really fucking great. And if you're not watching it, you're missing out. My only complaint is that they really made the accuracy for the Japanese and all that really great, and they speak Japanese in the show, but the Portuguese characters all speak English, which I don't understand. But my friend who I was talking to has an interesting theory. He's saying that, you're hearing English. I mean, granted, the main star is an Englishman, right? But anyway, his idea was maybe we're hearing it in English because that's their inner monologue, right? And we're hearing it in English as the narrator. And as the show goes on and he learns Japanese, maybe the Japanese characters will start speaking English as well. Again, I don't know. Interesting theory. That's just my complaint. It's why would you go all hard and be all Japanese for the Japanese characters, but for the Portuguese, it's English. I don't know. Anyway, Shogun's really great. You should watch it. And a lot of people are, because Shogun is now one of the best watched shows on Hulu. So it was its 2-episode premiere had 9 million viewers across Hulu, Disney Plus, and Star Plus in its first 6 days of availability. Is it on Disney Plus as well? But it is the biggest premiere on Hulu for an FX show in the U.S., surpassing Season 2 of The Bear. #1 series premiere internationally for a scripted show from Disney General Entertainment, which includes FX, ABC, the Disney Channel, Freeform, and others. But that 9 million is across Hulu and Disney Plus. So it's not just on one platform. But that view is measured by total stream time divided by runtime. And that's the kind of what all the streamers use, I guess. But we've also learned that 1.8 million U.S. households watched the first episode of Shogun on Hulu during its first 5 days. The second episode was viewed by 1.1 million on Hulu via Samba TV. So it puts past the premiere of Reacher, which had 1.7 million U.S. households in the first 5 days on Prime, and beyond Avatar: The Last Airbender on Netflix, which had 1.4, and One Piece, which had 986. But Shogun is doing very well. It is based on the 1975 novel of the same name by James Clavell. It's Tuesdays on FX and Hulu following its premiere. So Shogun, personally, is one of the best shows I've watched in a while. As I stated at the top of the hour, the world has lost a great man. Akira Toriyama has passed away unexpectedly at the age of 68. Toriyama, of course, famous for creating Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Quest, Chrono Trigger, and more. And it was announced by the official Dragon Ball Z Twitter account. He did pass away on the 1st, actually, we did learn. But it was not announced till the 7th. But he's been working in anime since he was 23. Created the famous manga Dr. Slump in 1980. And then, of course, Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super. He would go on to influence several other anime and manga creators. But he also created all the art for Dragon Quest, which a lot of people very much enjoy. It was one of the first console RPGs in Japan, and then teamed up with the creator of Dragon Quest, Yuji Horii, and Final Fantasy creator Hironobu Sakaguchi to create Chrono Trigger, which is considered one of the best games ever, from my understanding. I've never personally played Chrono Trigger, but I know a lot of people like it. He, of course, was working on Dragon Ball Daima before he passed, which was going to feature chibi-stylized Goku and Vegeta, but we don't know what was going on with that. And another game based on another property he created is due out in April. But hopefully he was able to finish some things before he passed. The world is literally in mourning, though. And when I say the world, I mean the world. The government of France put out stuff honoring him. AC Milan in Italy. Hundreds and thousands of people across Mexico and Latin America, the U.S., Japan, Europe. So many people. The creators of One Piece, Naruto, Dragon Quest, all mourn the death of him. Crunchyroll, of course, miss him. Obviously, a lot of his stuff is on Crunchyroll, but a lot of these were posted on the Shonen Jump website. Those were all originally published. That magazine originally published, of course, Dragon Ball, One Piece, Naruto, things like that. The creator of One Piece said, quote, "It's too soon. The void left behind is too large. The sadness overwhelms me when I realize I'll never meet you again. From my childhood, I've admired you. I remember the day I was first called by name on the way home after the day you used the word friends for us. I remember the joyous moment with Masahashi. I remember our last conversation. Masashi, excuse me, is the creator of Naruto. But it's, Dragon Ball is what made manga like commonplace even in Japan. Manga was not widely read in Japan before Dragon Ball kind of came out. At least it wasn't viewed by adults as worthwhile, right? So a lot of people, like I said, have come out and paid their respects. So let me see. Ichiro Oda, the creator of One Piece, said more, but Kishimoto, Masashi Kishimoto, creator of Naruto, said, quote, "From early elementary school with Dr. Slump to later years with Dragon Ball, Sensei's manga has always been with me, becoming a part of my life. Even when things were tough, Dragon Ball every week made me forget about it. It was salvation for a rural boy like me," unquote. So, so many people put out statements. AC Milan, like I said, it's, who said that? Someone called him Sensei, and I don't know who said that. It's French's soccer league, Ligue 1, I think, posted a tribute. Japan's ambassador to India, Hiroshi Suzuki, published it on Twitter. Like Hiroshi Suzuki, the baseball player? Oh no, that's I guess a common name. It's very, very sad that it happened. Like I said, unexpectedly was came out of nowhere. Even Justin Chatwin, who played Goku in the god-awful live-action movie of Dragon Ball that came out in the U.S. What's crazy is because that movie was so bad, Toriyama kind of came out of retirement and created Dragon Ball Super because of that movie. So there was some good out of that movie. We got Dragon Ball Super. But Justin Chatwin tweeted out, "Rest in peace, brother, and sorry we messed up that adaptation so badly," unquote. Look at that. He's apologizing for the movie. But that movie was so bad. So bad. And like I said, a lot of other people have put out tributes. So many fans of Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, and the like. It's no wonder that he's beloved by all. I mean, DBZ was a big part of my growing up, too. I think it was on Toonami every day when I'd get home. And while I didn't watch as much as some other friends and other people that I know, I do know enough about Dragon Ball Z to have a basic understanding of it. And, of course, I played a lot of the games as well. But, yeah. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully he got to do some stuff for Daima. Shrek 2 has been announced to be returning to theaters for its 20th anniversary of Shrek 2 on April 12th. If you guys want to go watch Shrek 2 in theaters, maybe some of you never got to, April 12th is your chance. I don't remember if I saw it in theaters. I don't. Daisy Ridley was being interviewed, and of course people had questions about her upcoming Star Wars film, and was speaking with Deadline specifically at South by Southwest. They asked if what would be happening in her movie, and she said, quote, "I would say she probably doesn't have children, seeing she's a Jedi," as they asked her about if she would have children. So, I just... why is that a question? Obviously, she's not going to have kids, but she's waiting to read a script, she did say. But, yeah, that's a question someone asked. Does Rey have children? I don't know, dude. That's not important. That has nothing to do with the story of Star Wars. Does Rey have children? The Oscars were on Sunday. Yes, they were, and they were pretty good. Jimmy Kimmel did great. There was a lot of other great jokes. So, let's go over the winners before I talk about everything else at the show. Oppenheimer won Best Picture, no surprise there. Of course, Christopher Nolan won Best Director to go along with it. Actor in a leading role went to Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer. Actress in a leading role, though, went to Emma Stone for Poor Things. That was unexpected. I really thought Lily Gladstone was going to win for Killers of the Flower Moon. Robert Downey Jr. won for Oppenheimer, no surprise there. Divine Joy Randolph continued her streak and won the Oscar for The Holdovers for Best Actress in a Supporting Role. American Fiction won for writing, very good there. Anatomy of a Fall won for original screenplay, no surprise. Oppenheimer won for cinematography. Here was an upset. The Boy and the Heron won for animated feature film. Oppenheimer won for music. What Was I Made For? Sorry, I hate that song. Won for Best Original Song. Poor Things won for production design. That's a big win. Film editing went to Oppenheimer, no surprise. 20 Days in Mariupol won for documentary feature film. The Last Repair Shop won for documentary short film. International feature film went to The Zone of Interest. Makeup and hairstyling went to Poor Things. Visual effects to Godzilla -1, baby. Godzilla -1, the first Oscar for the big boy himself, Godzilla. Let's talk about a movie that had such a small budget and won for best visual effects, okay? And look at Dune. Dune didn't even have a $200 million budget, and it had some of the best visual effects I've seen in a long time. It just shows you how much bloat is going on in these superhero movies. They're spending all this money, and all the CGI is garbage in a lot of them. Meanwhile, Godzilla, on a budget under $30 million, under 20 if I remember correctly, and it wins. Even the creator didn't even have $100 million, and that had amazing visual effects. Costume design went to Poor Things, so surprising there. Animated short film went to War Is Over, inspired by the music of John and Yoko. There were some cool looking ones, and I don't think it should have been that. The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar went to live action. That's Wes Anderson's first Oscar. And sound went to The Zone of Interest. So those were all the winners. Like I said, some surprises, not many. But I do want to talk about some of the crazy antics that happened. So the thing I thought was great, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito came out and had a little back and forth with Michael Keaton as Batman, and Arnold saying, "Son of a bitch." That sent me. It was so funny. Even though Michael Keaton wasn't Freeze's Batman, Paul Giamatti was very happy for his co-stars. Emma Stone, I thought the Jimmy Kimmel joke was funny. Emma Stone didn't. They got her. Ryan Gosling gave the ultimate performance of "I'm just Ken, anywhere else I'd be a 10." I fucking love that song. But his performance live at the Oscars was amazing. Simu Liu and even, who was it? Some of the other Kens. Oh, God, I can't think of his name. Bensley King Adair, that's his name, who just played, Bob Marley. Both of them who were Kens in the Barbie movie did dance with him at the show. Slash was there. Emma Stone got in on it and all. So all of them got in on the performance. It was great. The Slash appearance was amazing, though. So the fact that I'm Just Ken didn't win is still wild to me. Emily Blunt and Ryan Gosling got in a little jabbing at each other over Barbenheimer. That was fun. John Cena was practically naked giving out an award for costume design, which was funny. And then John Mulaney, while giving out an award, explained the entire plot of Field of Dreams. Yes, Field of Dreams. And then he got an amazing dig at Madam Web, and I died laughing. But going back to Godzilla here for a second, Godzilla Minus One had the lowest budget of any Oscar VFX winner in almost a decade. So Godzilla Minus One had a budget of $15 million, managed to look that fucking good, and won the Oscar, like I said. So that's wild to me. It's wild that they spent that least amount. So all other production budgets of all VFX Oscar winners since 2000, and the last movie to win with a similar budget to Godzilla Minus One was Ex Machina in 2015, which had a budget of $15 million. So that's, yeah. All of those other movies have cost at least, 3-4 of that. So the last time that was maybe like less was Lord of the Rings or First Man. That was around 60 million, and then Lord of the Rings, which were all under $100 million. So IGN compiled a list. Let's put it this way. So Godzilla Minus One had a budget between $10 and $15 million. They won VFX. Avatar: The Way of Water last year, its budget between $350 and $400 million. The year before that, Dune, $165 million. Tenet, $205. 1917, $100. First Man, $60. Blade Runner, 2049, $150 to $185. The Jungle Book, $175. Ex Machina, $15 million. So there's that about a decade. Interstellar, $165. Gravity, $100. Life of Pi, $120. Hugo, $170. Jesus, Hugo at $170? Inception, $160. Avatar, $237. Benjamin Button, $167. Golden Compass, $180. Dead Man's Chest, Pirates of the Caribbean, $225. King Kong, $207. Spider-Man 2, $200. Return of the King, $94. Two Towers, $94. Fellowship, $93. Gladiator, $103 million. That's wild. And then, of course, at the end of the show, Al Pacino comes out and just looked very confused and befuddled. And just the way he announced the Best Picture winner, just it was so weird. Okay? And the producers came out and clarified, yeah, that was on us. We told him not to announce the nominees. He just kind of like opened the envelope and was like, I guess Oppenheimer. But it just he literally just says, he opens the envelope and he says, quote, "And my eyes see Oppenheimer." So he had like a weird accent too when he said it. I don't. It was weird. He came out and said, though, quote, "There seems to be some controversy about my not mentioning every film by name last night before announcing the Best Picture award. I just want to be clear it was not my intention to omit them, rather a choice by the producers not to have them said again since they were highlighted individually throughout the ceremony. I was honored to be a part of the evening and chose to follow the way they wished for this award to be presented." So, unquote. Wild. But hey, that's the Oscars, baby. Moving on, James Gunn has clarified some things about Peacemaker Season 2 and where it places itself in the DCU. We have learned that it will take place after the events of Superman. And on Threads, he gave some updates. I think he's pretty much left Twitter at this point. So, Season 1 is not part of the DCU, but Season 2 will be. Also made clear that Superman was created as a DCU entry and was never going to be part of the DCEU. He said, quote, "Peacemaker Season 2 will take place after the events in Superman. in the interest of getting the show out there, unquote, in terms of him not directing every episode. But he also said, quote, many strands will remain consistent as far as Peacemaker's story goes, unquote, in regards to how it will kind of weave the web between the DCEU and DCU. And he did clarify that Waller is still happening. It will arrive later in what they're calling Chapter 1, their Phase 1. He said, quote, the schedule was impacted by strikes, unquote. No surprise there. But we've also learned that Creature Commandos, which will come out this year and will be the first official release of the new DC Cinematic Universe, the DCU, or DC Comics Universe? I don't know. That's weird. Shouldn't it be DCCU? Anyway, that will take place before Superman and will be an animated show. But other than that, we don't know a whole lot, as Superman has just recently started filming. So, remember in Morbius? You might not. You've never seen it. I've never seen it. Many people haven't seen it. But we learned that Michael Keaton appeared as like a crossover of somehow from, the MCU as his Vulture character. And everyone was very confused by that. Well, now we've learned, so was Michael Keaton. On the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast, he was asked about it, and he said, quote, no idea, none, zero. Even they couldn't quite explain it. He said, look, let me just kind of tell you. And I go, okay, I really don't quite know what you're talking about or even who some of these people are. Unquote. Bro, what a fucking joke. Sony, get rid of your Spider-Man. Just give Spider-Man back to Marvel, please. You're better off for it, man. You're better off for it. After the Oscars, Deadline was interviewing Greta Gerwig and was asked about the potential for a Barbie 2. And Greta had to say, quote, I'm not dismissing it. I want to do it. No resistance, but, unquote, but she said there are other things that have to happen. She also said, quote, I think we put everything into this one. We didn't build it to be a trilogy or something. Oh, no, that's Margot who said that. Sorry. But yes, while Greta is open to it, don't hold your breath for it to come anytime soon. We've also learned that Star Trek Academy will start filming this summer. That will be the next Star Trek show to release. Alex Kurtzman, the producer, though, warned, do not expect it anytime soon, as there's a lot of post-production that goes involved with that, as well as set building. But that will continue in the Discovery timeline, if I'm not mistaken, 1,000 years beyond where we are in the current Trek timeline. The Boy and the Heron will be hitting HBO Max sometime this year, we've learned, as Studio Ghibli and Warner Brothers have re-upped their contract. John Bernthal has teased his involvement in the MCU ahead of the Daredevil Born Again premiere, whenever that might be. I think that got delayed. That got very heavily delayed because of the strike. So he tweeted out on Instagram, it's actually on Instagram, 1 batch, 2 batch, so, which he showed off fictional children's books, which he kind of used to read to his daughter in the Punisher show. So, I'm wondering if that means he's going to be in Daredevil Born Again, which reports had surfaced sometime last March, which was a year ago. We still don't know when that's going to happen, though. I don't know when it's coming, but him teasing that is a big deal. Toonami announced that they will air a small DBZ Kai marathon on Saturday after midnight, which is insane. People are wondering why it's Kai. more than likely because it is more faithful to the Toriyama manga. Salem's Lot, the adaptation of the famous Stephen King novel, will no longer have a theatrical release and has been shifted to Max, but still has no premiere date for that. Neve Campbell is returning to Scream after sitting out Scream 6 due to a contract dispute, and of course Scream 7 losing its director and its stars over issues that I'm not going to get into because it's very political. She will be returning to play Sidney Prescott in the upcoming sequel. So Kevin Williamson, who wrote the first movie as well as Scream 2 and 4, will be directing. But it has to be good. Okay? Scream 5 and 6 are considered very good. I haven't seen them yet. But 7 has to be good if they're going to be bringing her back again. We've also learned that Matt Reeves' The Batman 2 has been delayed to October of 2026. Almost a full year's delay. Venom 3 has a new name and a new release date. Venom: The Last Dance. And will release a week early on October 25th. X-Men 97 premieres literally next week. And its creator has been fired. Yes, the creator of X-Men 97 has been fired. Showrunner and executive producer Bo DeMaio, which it premieres on the 20th or the 30th? Yeah, the 20th. That is a week. So we learned this via the Hollywood Reporter, and he was fired. Well, so this is not uncommon, but it's strange that it happened before, so close to the premiere. But it was all unexpected and sudden as well. I don't know. He finished his work on seasons 1 and 2, so we are getting 2 seasons of X-Men 97. But he won't be involved in promotional campaign or anything like that. Still don't know the reason or why, but he wrote Moon Knight. He worked on the Blade movie, worked on the Witcher show, and its animated show. So that's very weird. Very weird indeed. We also learned that The Zone of Interest will be hitting HBO Max on April 5th. That's that foreign film that won about the Nazis who live at Auschwitz. Fucking creepy-ass movie. Nicolas Cage was on a podcast and was asked about the potential for National Treasure 3, and he gave a big no. And he didn't say it wasn't happening or it's never happening, or we don't know what the details of the no are. I'm wondering if it's not happening anymore because of that really shitty National Treasure show on Disney Plus that started good and then fucking failed spectacularly as it went on. He said, if you're looking for treasure, don't go to Disney. But it's like, Disney, what are you doing? That's a movie that's like a guaranteed moneymaker, because as long as it's good, people will see it. And it's a franchise that people love. So I don't know what's going on there. I guess it's in development. Maybe it's not anymore. So who knows? Or maybe Nick Cage doesn't know. I just think it's a very missed opportunity if Disney does not move forward with it. I know they've canceled some movies, but I was going to talk a bit about Drake Bell and stuff, but I want people to watch the documentary themselves, and it fucking sucks that this happened at Nickelodeon and how they exploited all these children, and Drake Bell especially. There's just it's a lot of shitty fucking shit that happened over there, and it's fucking unfortunate. It will premiere on ID, Investigation Discovery, I think that's what that stands for, this weekend. It's called Quiet on Set, The Dark Side of Kids TV. And it talks about all the predators that worked at Nickelodeon in like the 90s and 2000s. And what the fuck, man? That's just... I don't even know. I don't even know what the fuck to say. Got a couple more things to talk about before we wrap up today. Surprisingly, the episode went a little longer than I thought, given the amount of news this week. But I want to talk about Halo. And you guys know how I've talked about it in the past, and I've caught up. And look, as a sci-fi show, this would be a great sci-fi show. But because it is tied to the Halo universe, and I know it's a separate timeline and all that, it is just fumbling the bag to a degree I do not understand. At this point, I'm hate watching the show. Right? Does that make sense? The people that should be evangelizing your show the most should be the Uber fans, people like me, people that consume Halo media outside of the games, the books, the comics, and things like that. And when you again, this show, it there's so many good things about it that if it wasn't Halo, it'd probably be one of the best sci-fi shows on television right now. But because it's Halo, it pisses me off to an nth degree. Especially the last two episodes. They are robbing viewers of the emotional weight of the story beats that hit in the games. Okay? The way they treat Captain Keyes, the way they treat John and the Spartans, and the fact that he is out of his fucking armor and helmet more in Season 2 than he was in Season 1. He has been out of the armor more in Season 2 than anything. And his bullshit excuse, like, blah, blah, I'm like, bro, I watched The Mandalorian for 3 seasons. He barely took his helmet off, and the show's fucking great. There's plenty of shows where the characters don't take their helmet off, and there's still emotional weight to the character, and you can connect with it. It's fucking asinine what they're doing. I should be out here promoting this show from the top of the fucking mountains, and I'm here shitting on it because of the decisions they've made. It's ridiculous. And then for them to look, again, like I said, whatever they did with Keyes, and now with the Arbiter, okay? The Arbiter and Chief, yes, they're enemies in the beginning, but they become allies. The Arbiter is a likable character from the beginning when we are first introduced to him. The character that they are making the Arbiter now is a hateable character. One that is not likable in any way, shape, or form. And I still do not understand why the Maquis character exists. Is it because they don't want to spend money animating the Prophets every episode? I don't fucking get it. I just do not. Then all the bullshit time we're wasting with Soren and his wife and his kid, not necessary in terms of Halo. Quan Ha, waste of a fucking character, if you ask me. They wasted the whole Fall of Reach completely. They wasted what happens with the Great Schism and the Arbiter, losing his faith in the Great Journey. They robbed us of the emotional weight of Chief and Keyes on Halo. They've robbed us of having Blue Team, right? And as we watch Team's Chief's silver team just disintegrate before our eyes. Don't get me wrong, there's great fucking action, and that shows off Halo in a great way. Them fighting the brutes, the elites, the jackals, the weapons, the armor, it all looks great. The fucking scorpion, dude. But then they tarnish it with the dog shit story, and acting is okay, but it's frustrating. It really fucking is. And like I said, it that 91 it has on Rotten from critics, well deserved if it wasn't Halo. But I'm not all doom and gloom. Not all doom and gloom. We got some great news today. Patty Jenkins was on the Talking Pictures podcast and said, quote, "When I left Star Wars to do Wonder Woman 3, and I started working on that, we talked about, well, maybe I'll come back to Star Wars after Wonder Woman 3. So we started a deal for that to happen. When Wonder Woman 3 then went away, Lucasfilm and I were like, oh, we've got to finish this deal. We finished the deal right as the strike was beginning, so now I owe a draft of Star Wars." Unquote. So, what does that mean? It means that Rogue Squadron's still happening from Patty Jenkins. And I'm stoked. So, this is very interesting news. So, she also said, quote, "They have a hard job in front of them. What's the first movie they're going to do? They have other directors who have been working, but I am now back on doing Rogue Squadron. We'll see what happens. We need to get it to where we're both super happy with it," unquote. That is great. That is great. I am stoked because, oh man, I'm stoked on that news. But that's it for Nixner News this week, guys. That's episode 305 in the bag. Hope you guys have a great St. Patrick's Day this weekend if you celebrate. Hope you guys have a great weekend in general. And I will see you guys next week. Don't forget to check out the website. Follow us on socials. Catch you on the flip side.
This has been a production of Nixner News. Please do not use without implicit faxed permission. And yes, that means with a fax machine. Thank you.